Attention! The National Weather Service has issued a hurricane warning for the entirety of the National Hockey League. Please stay tuned for further information from the Storm Cellar.
Welcome to the Storm Cellar Playoff 2025 edition, Ray. 1-0 in the series, one down, 15 wins to go. I missed the first 27 minutes of game time.
Right.
For family obligations. It sounded like the first 20-ish minutes went as well as the last 40-ish minutes, and I'm pretty darn happy. I wouldn't call them nitpicky. There are some things that could be better.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels rude to say that considering what I did get to witness. How did you saw the whole thing? Like,
yeah. So I hardly got any sleep for the excitement of this series starting. I was like just fired up. There is nothing like NHL playoff hockey, especially when your team is in it. And it's unfortunate we don't have anyone to join us on the show today to talk about it. You're stuck with me and you, but we got a good look at this team. And right off the hop, it was Carolina domination. From the very moment the puck dropped, New Jersey just could not deal with the forecheck, and the guys were aggressive. And a lot of times you would look to, of course, Stahl's line, and then Roslovic, who got this start ahead of Jankowski. And there was a lot of people that were wondering about that. How did Jankowski not get in the lineup?
I'm wondering. I'm one of them. I mean,
well, and you know what it was? For the first time in ever, the Hurricanes go in with everyone healthy, and that makes some tough decisions.
Yeah, and nobody deserved to sit, right? I mean, that's fair to say. Nobody deserved to sit. Everybody's played really well.
They have. And the one thing that I noticed is Roslovic with a couple of guys like Robinson and Carrier together is amazing. He gets a lot of space. Clanked one off the bar. You could see how they worked well together and got in on the first goal by Chatfield. Carrier going to the front of the net, taking away the eyes. I mean, that's what you got to do. Now, I saw the strategy for New Jersey. They do have a strategy, and Markstrom was a big part of it. It was never freeze the puck or hold on to it for too long. He was continually trying to get the puck back into play and get it out of their end. What happens to any opponent who comes into Raleigh, they get these super long shifts that wear them down defending their own net. And that there's only one counter to that, and that's get the puck out of your end as quickly as possible, tape to tape. New Jersey didn't do that until the very end of the second period. And how about, so there's a few former Hurricanes with the Devils. How about Seth Jarvis blowing up Pesci? Jarvis was playing the most physical game that I have ever seen.
You can tell he looks like he's 100%, right? The shoulder's not bothering him. I didn't see it the first time around. I saw the replay. Beautiful. I mean, that's playoff hockey. Finish your checks.
Yeah, and everyone was making good, solid hits. The first two periods were great, everything they could have asked for. I think they tied a record for the deepest margin of, or the biggest margin of shots after two periods. It was crazy, and everyone downplays it all the time. Because that's what Carolina does. They shoot from everywhere, and the number of shots don't mean anything. And I'm not going to say who says that all the time. But the thing is, Markstrom, who made some unbelievable saves early on in the second period, he got a little wonky. There was he got beat on one that he should have had. And then he gets a shot from the point that he catches, kind of. It drops behind him. And if Hamilton's not there, he's got one of the ugliest goals allowed in playoff history. Then he started looking for the puck, looking behind him. Like the goals that were scored, he did not look like Markstrom, and he got rattled in the second period. And yeah, and the boys took advantage of it.
PK Subban the other night said, "Oh, Jersey's going to win the series." And we all, I
Yeah.
mean, he played 3 years there. I get it, but my goodness. And part of that was goaltending. Like, no question, Markstrom is better than the other two, which has been true as of late. But we've seen Frederick Anderson in the play. We've seen him just go on a tear. And what I saw today when I got home and got the game on was Markstrom looked a little shook. Like you said, he wasn't playing with confidence.
Yeah.
This is a guy that the Hurricanes have been able to take care of in the past. Freddie, on the other hand, the Hischier goal was soft. I mean, I texted you, I jokingly called it a Piotr special. It's one of those goals that really shouldn't happen. But he made some, but the saves he did make, I'm not going to slam him for it, right?
Yeah.
Because he did, in my opinion, he did his job. If you hold the opponents to one goal, even if you lose, it's not your loss. If your team can't score two, that's not on you. That's on them. So by holding them to one goal, that's what you're supposed to do. And so I'm waiting for the Subban backpedaling to begin, which will happen, and will happen right away. It'll happen in a couple weeks here. But the other thing is, during the intermission, I don't know if it's the first or second. It might have been the second because I'm not sure when I got home. But Messier, and he's talking about lineups, and he's like, "Oh, well, you got Slavin, and you got Orlov, and you got Spetch, and they're going against these small New Jersey guys." And I was sitting there like, you're supposed to be this super smart hockey guy, and Jack Hughes being out of the lineup and Siegenthaler being out of the lineup are not things that happen in the last 2 or 3 days where after your predictions were made. Like, yeah. Everybody, like, this is what you knew was the matchup was going to be. What did you think Rod was going to do? I guess I don't understand. And look, maybe it's just for ratings. I always say, a lot of places we don't make any money. We can just say what we want to say. But a lot of guys like PK Subban just spit forth things for, getting clicks and making ad money. And that's what their bosses care about as much as they do sports talk.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they were surprised. And they kind of couched in like, well, we know Carolina's a good team. Yeah. You say that now that like there's a butt whooping going on. But what did you think was going to happen without Jack Hughes and with Siegenthaler? And then in this game, Dylan goes down, and I don't think he returned at all, right?
He did not. He did not.
Then you had, was it Quinn went down? Or he was off the ice for a few minutes, right?
Yes.
And then he was able to come back, which that was a dirty slash by Markstrom. If Glass, yeah. If that would have connected with the back of Svech's legs
Oh,
with the ACL tear from a couple years ago,
yeah.
that should be a suspect. I mean, honestly, that's one they should look at anyway. Brett Pesci getting the elbow up, right?
Yeah.
Early on. Like, if we're going to look at Jalen Chatfield taking a guy to the ice when he clearly didn't want to fight, then those need to be looked at too. Like, let's call them somewhat equally. That being said, real quick, Jalen Chatfield opens the scoring 2.5 minutes in with a rocket from the right side.
Yep.
What a great guy to score that goal with Robinson and Roslovic on the assist. We just mentioned like they put in Roslovic over Jankowski. I thought it'd be Jost and Roslovic the odd man out. I was wrong. First goal of the game, Rob proves me wrong.
And it was perfect. It was like a set play. Roslovic wins the draw. Robinson gets in there and taps it back, and Carrier goes straight to the net. Now, there was question on whether or not there was interference, and they took at it, look at it for a while, and New Jersey just didn't have enough evidence. Like, first of all, Carrier was pushed in, and Markstrom was backing up. If he might have stayed a little higher up, there could have been that one could have been overturned. It's happened to us before. It could happen again. Not to defend Messier so much. I think the point of what he was trying to make compared to size is that New Jersey has to be moving quickly and tape to tape to get out. And they've got guys with speed. They also have guys that love to go to the front of the net. Nason, I'm looking at you. Like, he loves to go to the front of the net.
Oh yeah,
And if they can get speed going, we've got defenders who cannot deal with the quickness. Okay? You've got to be moving, you've got to be quick. And there were times with brain cramps, Chatfield and Orloff, they were messing around with the puck behind the net, and it actually ended up turning into something. They couldn't decide who was going to take the puck out, and they kept throwing it behind their net. New Jersey said, if you guys don't want it, we'll take it. They did, and thank goodness for Anderson. Anderson's save in the third
yeah.
when it was 3-1 and New Jersey was asserting themselves. Okay, this is going to be nitpicky, but I'm going to say it. The Devils were down to 4 defensemen.
Yep.
4. Where was the pressure? Where was the hitting? You have an opportunity to wear them out. Seriously. Now, look, I don't wish ill on Dylan. I hope he's okay. He got tied up with Carrier. They said it was, Ferraro said it was Martinook, but it was Carrier.
Mm-hmm.
And they got twisted up and legs turned and stuff. It was all coincidental. And Dylan goes down, and it did not look good. He tried to get up, and it was
Yeah,
not.
he went right
It
back
was
down.
not
That's
good.
if they lose Dylan on top of the other injuries for the rest of the series, I mean
that's we're not saying it's a foregone conclusion, but those are just big losses.
I think it's fair to say that if everybody's healthy on both teams, the Canes have an edge. It's
Yep.
close, maybe, but the Canes overall are the better team. But with the injuries, I don't think it's all that close. And that's one of the reasons I was surprised when some people were like picking the Devils, Subban aside. And to your point, Chatfield and Orlov, need to do a better job protecting the puck, particularly behind the net. But
Mhm.
they were also +5 today between the two of them.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
one of
the
those kind
thing.
of things, right? You take the good with the bad on that one, I think.
Yep.
Um, not to I'm not going to hammer this home, but Brent Burns was a -1. I think that's his eighth straight or 7 of 8 games in the negative. I think the only game he didn't was the 82 where he played 24 seconds.
And he showed there was times where he showed quickness, where he was able to shut down that guy who was trying to go around him to the wide side. And make no mistake, the fast devils are looking at him and they don't want to go on the side of Slavin. They just don't. And how about Slavin chasing down Heischer?
That was great.
That was that was amazing. A great pass, and it's Slavin with him. And it, I just once I saw that it was Slavin with him, I breathed a little easier. And that sounds very homerish. He sure, of course, the guy who scored, for him to chase him down and move him aside and usher him into the corner with not even a look. Come on. Slavin, as Ray Ferraro, whom I love, former Whaler, said it best. He is an exquisite defenseman. That
hmm
is probably the best term for him. His D is exquisite. It's unmatched. You so many people look at D guys because they can score points and stuff like that, and it's exciting and whatever. There's no one I want on my team more than Jacob Slavin.
Yeah, and he had a night. I mean, he's the anchor. And to Brett Burns' credit, I thought he was better today than he's been for a little bit.
He
So
was,
maybe it's just legs, maybe it's feeding off the crowd, whatever it is, he had it. Stankoven scoring two in the middle frame. The
man.
place went wild. I can still remember, like I can still feel the way that building feels when the energy is as high as it was today. And that's
Yeah,
game one, round one. And I want to say real quickly, Alexander Nikishin is watching from the press box,
yeah.
speaks little to no English.
Mhm.
Do you think he got an impression of what playoff hockey is like in Carolina today? Because if you tell me that he wasn't getting that tingly, this is something that could be special feeling, I wouldn't believe you because there's no way that didn't translate across languages. You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
place was rocking. The Freddie chants, they were in the third. I don't mind when people razz the opposing team's goalie because I did hear some Markstrom chants going on.
but
I'm okay with it.
you always heard howla,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And,
Howla,
and to be fair,
howla.
he, Holla, he's a nothing story at this point. He can't he can't win a game in Raleigh. He does nothing. Let's look at his box score. Let's see what Eric Holla did today. He was zeros across the board and he took 5 hits and
Yeah,
one shot. I jokingly online, I was like, they should have left him home because he doesn't win in Raleigh. Like it's a thing,
yeah.
right? So overall, I don't think that you could have done a lot better in terms of a first game of the playoffs. You
No,
come into this one on a bit of a skid, right? You're resting. I mean, and part of it is you're resting guys up. You're getting in the newbies. You send the kids back to Chicago. They start their 3 game series against the Ice Hogs soon. But Jalen Chatfield getting on the board at 224, in my opinion, was absolutely huge because it gives you that safety valve, right? Okay, now we're up one with 50, 58 minutes to go. We still have to play hard, but we're not playing from behind, right?
Yeah.
And
Chasing the game.
chasing the game, and that's what Markstrom felt like he was doing the whole night. Like you
Mhm.
said, there was the one shot where he's looking behind him and it's sitting right in front of him. There was another one where it deflected off his pads. He's looking for it, and it's just sitting in the crease, and nobody sees it. Unfortunately, there wasn't a hurricane within 15 feet, or that'd
Yeah.
have been in the net. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's the little things. It's to your point, when New Jersey has four D men, you really push the attack, right? You
Mhm.
ramp up the physicality because the mental part of this, of the NHL playoffs in particular, is so important. They're professionals. They're not going to give up. But if Dylan's hurt, Hughes is out, they got if you can get it in their heads in game one, round one, we can't win, right? We can make a
Yeah.
good effort, we can take it to 6 games, but there's just no way we're beating this team. Job done, and like 50% of your job is done, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as they start starts creeping in, guys stop giving 110%. Now guys are giving 95%, and then in the NHL playoffs, 95% gets you sent home.
Yeah. And that's what kind of frustrated me a little bit when there were only four defenders, is that Carolina was up 3-1 and they're only down to it was like there was, I don't know, I don't want to call it pity, but you just didn't see the you just didn't see the forecheck and the hitting. You just didn't see it during that time period.
Some
Now they
killer
got
instinct,
one,
right?
yeah, and they got one guy back. So then it was back up to five defenders. It was Hughes. It was the other
Hmm.
Hughes
Hmm.
that was out.
Hmm.
And um, as far as Nikishin goes, I don't wish to besmirch the individual, and I can't remember who it was that started with the siren. But
Oh, I
if
didn't see the
Nikishin,
first period siren.
if Nikishin is on the siren, that place, I mean, it was loud already,
Hmm.
but everyone's been waiting for it. You want to talk about first impressions?
Yeah.
Guys, Canes, if you're listening, PR guys, put him on the siren. I mean, he might be sitting, and what they said was there's question whether or not he'll play even in the playoffs. He might not
Yeah.
he might
I
not
think
get a
that's
chance.
fair.
There's an entire possibility that is the case. But let him feel the love, let him feel the passion. Game 2, put him on the siren to start the game. The Devils will be deaf. I mean, that's
100%.
really it's going to be crazy. Now, I just like to say the NHL schedule monkey, when they set this up and they have a 6 o'clock Tuesday night game in Raleigh, it's as though the league has looked at this series and called it an amuse bouche for the rest of the hockey, which is the main course that everyone wants.
Hmm.
That's kind of how this one was. Putting it in the afternoon because everyone's talking about the Battle of Ontario. And so the league says, yeah, no one's really watching these guys. We've got some exciting games coming up. We'll call it the amuse bouche. And that's how they've treated the entire series. The
It really
entire
is.
series.
Hurricanes got all the raw deal in terms of start times.
Now, it's the same for both teams. No one's used to playing in afternoons. So it's something to get used to.
I think it's a good hurdle. A 3 p.m. start on an Easter. I mean, Jacob Slavin had to be furious. A
Yeah,
Tuesday
not
6 p.m.
not
start.
happy.
A Tuesday 6 p.m. start is one of those weird start times, and the Canes often don't play well for those. However, it's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah.
No excuses, right?
Yeah, if you can't get up for it, then what are you doing?
Exactly. If you can't get up for game two when you're leading the series 1-0, knowing that you could, can't put the series away 2 games in, but you can make the other team start rethinking what they're doing, then
Hmm.
what are we doing here? And the nice thing is on Tuesday you follow up. Now the Battle of Ontario is at 7:30, but you have the Battle of Florida at 8:30 on Tuesday. So as the Canes are finishing their game, then you have Tampa and Florida, who are two very good teams. So
Yeah.
I will say, if I'm the league, if I'm being fair, I do give Carolina and New Jersey the worst start for a few reasons. One, the Carolina market's not as big. The New Jersey market is dominated by the Rangers and the Islanders, two teams not in the playoffs, but those fans don't want to watch the Devils. It's that
No.
kind of a hatred. So you have that. And number
Yeah.
two, I think the league looks at this series and goes, Carolina should take this. Really, I mean, I'm not pumping our own tires. I'm saying with,
Yeah.
with with
Yeah.
the injuries and all, the league is like, look, maybe it takes 6 or 7 games, but how does Carolina not win this if they get decent goaltending?
I'll tell you what,
Versus,
if Jack Hughes is in the series, maybe that's rethought a little bit.
100%.
Like that's because he is elite as well. Like, yeah, like that is such a huge loss. Such a
Yeah.
huge loss. Um,
Can I give you a gain for the Hurricanes? A gain via loss.
sure.
The Canes not being in and getting Timo Meyer, which a lot of us were upset about,
Yeah.
has worked in our favor incredibly well.
It kind of has, hasn't it?
Because he has not been the guy with New Jersey he was out west. And whether that's a systemic thing, whether it's playing the East versus the West, whether it's just bad luck, whether the Canes just have his number, I don't know. But he was the guy, last time in the playoffs, they were like, man, you got to watch out for Timo Meyer. That dude might be lethal. And he just hasn't been. And I'd love to see that continue. I mean, it's good
Yeah.
for us, but it's one of those where it's like the Rantanen deal. It doesn't
Just-
work. It's a big name. You're upset about it. But when you step back and really look at it and think, you go, maybe this worked out pretty well because
I'm
Hall,
waiting. Sorry, I'm
no,
wait. Sorry for cutting you off. I'm waiting for someone to finally have the nerve on air to say the Hurricanes came out better.
yes.
They won at the draft because no one mentions Taylor Hall, who had
I
two
was just going to
elbows.
say Taylor Hall and Stankoven, two key pieces in the whole Natchez to Drury to Rantanen to Stankoven Hall. Those two guys have 4 points in as of one game. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Marty Natchez has a point in Colorado. Jack Drury has a point in Colorado. Mikko Rantanen not only has no points, but he's a -2, I think.
Yes.
And I'm not going to bag him right now because what's
Oh, I
done is
will.
done. Like I will be happy to watch the Avs kick their butts and send him packing. Don't get me wrong. And I'm just saying he might come back and put up 2 hat tricks in the rest of the series. I mean, he's that good.
Yeah.
But like you said, when you look at Drury and Nate just going out, ignore what happened in the middle.
Yep.
Stankoven, Hall,
Jankowski.
Jankowski, you know, 2 first-round picks, 2 third-round picks. I, as I said weeks ago, am completely happy with how this turned out. Would it have been nice to have superstar Mikko Rantanen here, lighten it up? Yes. Clearly, that's not what Mikko wanted. It wasn't going to work here. I'm very happy for Logan Stankoven to come out and be like, getting kind of tired of them talking about Mikko Rantanen during Hurricanes games.
Yeah.
Let's give them something else to talk about. And putting up 2, was phenomenal.
And the forecheck was just he is so okay. So he might be a little ball of hate. And that it's
Okay.
I hate stealing that from the gentleman who earned it properly, but you see him, he is so fast, and it's like he's invulnerable. Like he just goes in, I don't want to say reckless abandon, but every pursuit that he has is with purpose, and it's quick, and he's moving. And Hall, that pass on the power play goal,
Oof,
that was something. First of
it
all,
was.
KK getting it over to Hall, and Hall just immediately fires it over. And wow, you know, Rosie clanking the bar, Svechnikov getting robbed until the end with the empty netter. Um, Look, there's a lot to feel good about. A lot to feel good about. Tuesday, um, I expect to hear the folks loud and proud. Um, they need this is going to sound so crazy, but take them out of they need to win on Tuesday night. Evening this out lights a little fire under the Devils, who are so short-handed.
Hmm. And they're
And
going to
if
play tough
they're
at home.
and they are going to play tough at home. And further to that, the Hurricanes haven't played very well on the road. And in the third period, Sheldon Keefe made an interesting move. He started with Heischer and Bratt on the same line. And he did that for two periods, knowing that Slavin is going to be out there with them. And
Right.
so with that, he decided to split them apart, and all of it changed. There was more movement, there was
Mhm.
more action. You
Yep.
couldn't lock down just two guys. I think it was a smart move that we're probably
Hmm.
going to see more of, because it makes it harder for the rest of the D to be able to zone in on the key moments. And your third line stall, which they've always been shut down. That's hard to stop, especially when you get the last
Say a
shift.
long change. Yeah.
So win this one on Tuesday.
Win Tuesday. Things I'm looking forward to on Tuesday need to be better in the faceoff dot.
Yeah,
39.4% is not good enough, especially for this team.
yeah.
Power play went 1 for 3. If you can get one power play goal per game, you are
Thank
all
you.
set. Beautiful. Well, I don't care if you go 1 for 7, just get one, right?
Yep.
The Canes managed to stay out of the box. In fact, one of the two penalties, the one against Ghost,
I don't know what was going on
100%
there.
in my mind, the rest went, we cannot give I think it was a fourth penalty against New Jersey. We just can't. Oh, I can call them both. I just didn't see it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just like, that is a phantom call just to keep things even. And that space is what allowed Heischer to score his goal.
Tell me,
Had that not been cold, I think the Canes could have won this 4-0.
Brad, how do you, they called him for unsportsmanlike conduct, embellishment. How exactly do you embellish a cross check to the neck and chin?
Without going down, without writhing in pain. I mean, he skated off and basically he said some words as he was skating away. I don't, it, in my opinion, that is a referees dictating the game kind of call, because they were like, man, if we give Hurricanes another one, we're going to hear about it.
And
So,
sprung at the end of the game, the last 2 seconds or whatever with that check from behind on Hall from Sprong, and Hall wanted a piece of him. Like he was not happy, and the refs identified it and jumped it in and said, "Save it for Tuesday, boys." But there, this is going to get heated. Yeah, every series does,
It
you
was
know.
less chippy than I expected.
Um,
It's still early. Like it can get worse, but it's
oh
New
yeah,
Jersey, it's Carolina. These guys don't necessarily like each other all that much. I mean, the season series I think was 2-2. So um
yeah,
we're making this short, right?
yep.
Final thoughts. Um, what do you want to see for Tuesday? For one, is just in general, like what do the Canes need to work on? And B, is it Anderson or is it Kachekov in net?
Wow, that's I think it's still Anderson. It would not surprise me if it were Kochetkov, like not in the least, but I think it's going to be Anderson. And I really like the lineup that Rod came up with. Keep the same lineup because the physicality, the hustle, the quickness, like that fourth line, Carrier is such a great pursuit guy, but we all know how quick Robinson is, as is Roslovic when he gets the opportunity. There's another scoring threat there. KK is doing great with Hall. Like and to have Svetch there, I might want a little more out of the top line because today's game was all depth scoring, but Jarvis showed up with the
Well, he was
body.
everywhere.
He was everywhere. Yeah. So
They
let's
even
keep that
even
up.
had the classic Aho Jarvis shorthanded attempt. Not a
Off
good
the
one,
yeah.
but it better than going the other way.
Yeah, 100%. So
Yeah.
I want to see everything as is. I think the net is Freddie's until it isn't. And
Yeah, I think I put
had
Fred. I
enough
think I put
rest all
Anderson in.
season.
I mean, I don't think a rotation would hurt you because that's what they've been going with.
Yeah.
But Anderson looked better than he has generally speaking lately.
Hmm.
So if his confidence is coming up or he's in the zone, right? He's in playoff mode, playoff ready. You let him do it. He had a 958 save percentage today, one goal against.
What more can you ask for?
Right. If you have numbers close to that, you let that guy go. You just keep running him out there. I would.
Yep. Yep.
So as
The
much
only
as I would
thing
go ahead.
the only other thing that I have to see, sorry, and it was a joke and but it's Nikishin beyond the siren. Game
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. I don't expect to see Nikishin in necessarily unless there's some kind of injury or anything. It'd be cool, right? Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. And I will say that the backup defensemen right now are Stillman and Nikishin. And if they have to go to one of them, it's going to be Nikishin. I don't think there's
No
any
question.
question at all that Nikishin is the first call up on defense. But even if they need him, every practice, every day he can skate with the guys and not have that pressure is
Yeah.
beneficial, right?
Yes.
So, and Nick kind of taught us, he's like, NHL is one of those things where language is maybe not as important as it is in others. And there are ways to negate that a little bit with Kochetkov and Orlov and Smestikov on the ice.
Yeah.
But I think the Canes did themselves a huge favor, and the crowd, the fans, the Caniacs did a huge favor by blowing the roof off the day because that's got to have him excited. That's got to want to get him in the game. And best case scenario for the Nikishin fans is, the dog is champing at the bit. He's pulling at the chain, and you let him get really riled up, and then you turn him loose. Because if Nikishin's out there and Jersey only has 4D or 5D,
Wow. The hits are
because
coming.
he's going to be like, oh, I can hip check people. Watch this. So,
And this is only game one.
and it's
See,
game
that's the
one.
thing. It's game one of the first round. It's only going to get louder. It doesn't
Hmm.
seem possible, but it will. We all know
Yep.
that.
I'm already eyeing tickets for game 4 in New Jersey. Just
That a boy.
just looking, maybe
Just
drive down,
browsing.
spend. They're not that expensive. $75 I can get in the door. The hotel will be more than that, but
I'm,
we'll see.
that would make me
I got the
very jealous.
playoff beard has been trimmed, playoff
That's
hair.
nice.
Man, I look
Look at
so
that.
sunburned. Oh my gosh, I'm worried now that I'm going to be hurt in the morning. But
And with that, there's really not too much else to say other than, first of all, Caniacs who are listening, thank you.
good
You
job,
made me so proud.
good job.
Uh,
I didn't
I
even mind
just
the wave. They did the wave at the
did they
end, and
do the wave?
I said, do the wave, do it harder. I put up the Michael Scott meme. I'm going to wave even harder. When you're up 4-1, you can do the wave with
There you
2
go.
minutes to go.
There you go.
I'm on board.
I'm on board too. There is one thing though we need to do.
Yes.
Go Canes.
Go Canes.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. Ray and I greatly appreciate your support in helping us produce an informative and fun podcast. As always, we'd like to say that we believe hockey is for everyone. Whether you're a Caniac or a bunch of jerks, doesn't matter, as we're just a couple of jerks anyway. We would love to hear your questions, comments, and suggestions. We will do our best to answer anything hockey related. You can reach us via email at stormcellar97@gmail.com. On Twitter, we are at stormcellar97, and on Facebook at facebook.com/stormcellar97.